Yeah, just watching my cars. So be careful.
Okay.
Yo, what's going on, my YouTube fam? I know it's kind of late, you guys. I've been working. I try to make it home as soon as possible to get this started. I am a little bit late. I'm gonna go ahead and see if a few people tune on in, see who's up. Kind of don't expect too many people to tune on in because I understand it is late. It's 11. It's 11 o'clock on my end. I know most of my subscribers, is in different time zones. They're a little bit ahead of time. But I know my solidified folks is gonna come back and watch and show that support. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, like, share, subscribe. Tonight on Ray Sean today, it should be Ray Sean tonight, but on Ray Sean today, we're gonna talk about this devastating, deadly school shooting in Uvalde. I think that's how you say it. I'm not too sure. Like I said, I just got off of work, so I don't even know too much information about what's going on right now. So, I guess we're going to kind of figure it out together and go from there, watch these videos, man. And most importantly, want to send the prayers out, from our channel, Ray Sean Keep It 100, to Uvalde, Texas, and everybody affected by this senseless act, man. It's just sad that somebody would even do that. I got a couple videos. One do say 14 students killed. I think the numbers have went up to 19 kids. I don't know the ages yet. I think they were like second and third grade. Seems like elementary school. But sad story, man. It's crazy that somebody would even just do anything like that, just take, anybody's life in general, but especially some children, man. Like, why would you want to go to a school and shoot some innocent kids? And I mean, I don't think we'll never understand the mind state of a person like that because it's just unbelievable. That's 19 parents out there that is going through the worst thing of their life tonight. And all they did was just send their kid off to school to get their education and get this phone call or however they received the news of, just this tragic event. I don't know. I'm speechless, y'all. So we're just going to go ahead and jump into this video. First, I'm going to go ahead and play you know what I'm talking about.
Copyright disclaimer.
Copyright
disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair.
Yo, what's good, my YouTube fam? So on that note, I must say, anything said about any person or persons in this content are not proven facts. Information in this content is based off of opinions and allegations. Allegedly. You know the internet's favorite word, allegedly. Allegedly. Well, let's get it. All right, you guys. So we got that out the way. Only reason I play that because we are using other content, which this is NBC, ABC, I believe. I don't know if they trip or not off of copyrights. Usually, most stuff with the news is, you can use it without getting in trouble. But I think one time I did get in trouble for using the news. So hold on real quick, you guys. All right, I'm back. We're going to go ahead and jump into this news clip. see how much information, we could gather up. She gonna have to wait. All right.
10 days after another shooting massacre at a supermarket in Buffalo, New York, left 10 people dead. Gabe Gutierrez joins us. Gabe, this Texas tragedy comes as we're seeing a rise in mass shootings in this country.
Yeah, that's right, Lester. This is the deadliest school shooting in the U.S. since the Parkland rampage in February of 2018. As has become common now, there are already growing calls to stop gun violence, which has been especially brutal this year. Another crime scene, another earth-shattering act of violence, another mass shooting in America. This one at an elementary school full of 2nd through 4th graders.
What are we doing? What are we doing? Just days after a shooter walked into a grocery store to gun down African American patrons, we have another Sandy Hook on our hands. What are we?
Damn, that's crazy, y'all. I kind of did hear something about the Buffalo shooting. I want to get into that too. I'm probably do that tomorrow. I do remember that it was all African Americans, man. I don't know. Look, we not finna get into the conspiracies, but definitely think it's something behind these shootings, man. Like, cause it only happens in America, first of all. And then it's like, what is these people's motive? Like, they don't really have no motive. It's like, is people really that crazy out there, or is there something else behind it? I don't know. But, at the end of the day, it's still a sad situation. And prayers is definitely needed for all these families and these children, man. Sad that somebody would even go this extent to take some children's lives. Like, why would you even want to live with that on your conscience for the rest of your life and then throw your life away in all types of ways? You know what I mean? Like, just throw your whole life away. And I heard earlier that he shot his grandma too before he went to the school. I don't know. We're gonna find out. Let's get into this video.
What are we doing? There have been more mass shootings than days in the year.
Senator Chris Murphy represents Newtown, Connecticut, the somber site of its own elementary school massacre a decade ago. Fred Gutenberg's daughter was one of 17 students and staff killed in 2018 in Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida.
Are we going to watch more kids die, or are we going to do something?
Already this year, there have been more than 200 mass shootings, according to data from the Gun Violence Archive. And a new FBI report shows the number of active shooter incidents.
And I was also saying,
Wow, that's crazy, y'all. 212 mass shootings. Like, I only heard about a few. What the hell is really going on?
Incidents in the U.S. last year jumped more than 50% compared to the year before. The shooters increasingly choosing soft targets. Just days ago, 10 people were killed at a supermarket in Buffalo. Their funeral is still underway. In California, a gunman targeted a church. In the last 3 years, gunmen have opened fire at a kosher market in New Jersey, a Walmart in El Paso, and a supermarket in Boulder, Colorado. The statistics are clear, but what to do about them is not.
We are seeing way too many of these horrific mass murders, and we need to devote far more law enforcement resources to stopping violent criminals, to preventing these kind of absolute acts of evil.
And Gabe, we spent part of the day together covering this, watching it unfold. We've both been to more of these scenes than we care to think about. What went through your mind as you watched those pictures today?
Yeah, Lester, we were on the air, as you said, when the governor revealed that death toll. And it was just a gut punch. How many of these shootings have we reported on together over the past decade or so? You know, I think back to Columbine. I was just a teenager then, but it all felt so unbelievable. How tragic is it that this now feels so common?
And some of the conversations that we had after Buffalo, after many of these others, we're having again or are being had.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And certainly a lot of questions in the coming days about what to do, if anything can be done about this. It's always so hard to find out the motive here, Lester.
Yeah. All right, Gabe, thank you. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel.
Yeah, fam, that's crazy, man. Was not even aware of all these mass shootings that has taken place within the last year, I guess they said. I got one more video. This is from 9 hours ago, so the death toll has been updated since this one. Let's just see if they have any other different information on there. And then tomorrow, you know, we'll get back to it. I'm going to just keep this one short. I know it's late. I'm tired myself. And yeah.
For years. We got Good afternoon, and we're coming on the air because of an awful scene playing out today in Texas. An active shooter for a time at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. This is about 80 miles outside of San Antonio.
Uvalde.
There is word potentially multiple children have been killed. This happened at the Robb Elementary School in the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District. The alleged gunman opening fire off campus, then reportedly running into the school, barricading himself in a classroom where it's believed the shooting continued, the school on lockdown. Uvalde Memorial Hospital confirming at this hour 13 children arriving at the ER. That hospital also confirming to ABC News at least 2 children killed. But sources telling us at this hour this number could be far worse. I want to bring in investigative reporter Aaron Kotursky as we look at aerials coming in from the scene. Again, Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. This is about 80 miles or so, perhaps a little longer the distance, but outside San Antonio, Texas. Reports that some have been brought to San Antonio as well. And again, one hospital already confirming 2 children dead. And Aaron, we're learning from sources at this hour that this is sadly going to likely be much worse here.
It does seem that way, David. Multiple law enforcement sources tell ABC News that potentially 14 people have been killed in this shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. That does include the suspect, we're told from multiple law enforcement sources, an 18-year-old suspected shooter killed as this shooting scene unfolded. Law enforcement sources have been trying to nail down specifically the numbers that they're working with. It is still an active scene, as you can see there. So many people gathered around to try and figure out what happened, taping off the areas that were the scene of this shooting. But multiple law enforcement sources tell ABC News, David, that potentially as many as 14 people, including a number of children, have been killed today at the school.
Chilling to hear that number, obviously in a time when we've been reporting on shootings on the rise in this country. Aaron, what more do we know about the scene as it unfolded? Initially, reports had come in that the shooting began off campus, then the shooter reportedly going into that school. Do we know anything more about where the children might have been targeted, whether or not inside the school or outside before that shooter made it indoors?
Nothing confirmed, David, and law enforcement sources say they are still trying to piece together exactly how all of this unfolded. They've focused on the suspected shooter, an 18-year-old who is, according to multiple sources, dead there at the scene after some kind of involvement with law enforcement. We also hear that at least one law enforcement officer may be among those shot, although the condition is not exactly clear. how this unfolded, whether it took place inside, outside. Law enforcement sources say they are still trying to piece together, but the ATF, the FBI, and a number of agencies in Texas have all responded to the scene, David.
And of course, you can see significant law enforcement presence on the scene already in Uvalde, Texas, outside both Austin and San Antonio, of course. The reason we bring up San Antonio is because there are reports some have been brought to San Antonio for medical help. And again, as I mentioned when we came on the air, Uvalde Memorial Hospital reporting at least 2 children dead. And as you heard, our investigative reporter, Aaron Kotursky, just report, sources now telling ABC News that as many as 14 people, including children, could have been killed here this afternoon in Uvalde, Texas, at yet another shooting in this country. ABC's Maria Villarreal is our reporter in Texas, and Maria knows this community. Maria is with us on the phone, and can you just describe to us, I understand this is a rural community, a close-knit community, a relatively small one.
David, that's exactly right. I mean, this community is about an hour and a half or so outside of San Antonio, Texas. They have less than 20,000 people living in the area, and they are a farming and ranching community. We were just there not too long ago covering some border issues. The mayor in the town telling us over the last 2 months they have been wrestling with a lot of immigration issues, but more importantly, just describing really the community essence of his town, talking about how they are so close-knit, so tight-knit. We are about 30 minutes away from Uvalde right now, and on our road trip down there, we have seen a number of law enforcement agencies driving down there extremely fast. We know that the local sheriff's department in San Antonio, Bexar County, as well as the San Antonio Police Department, they are also responding to this area. One thing to note, you just mentioned right now that there are a number of potential victims that are being taken to the San Antonio area, and that's because, this town is so small and their hospital is so small that a incident of this magnitude, what we're talking about, there is no way this hospital could respond to this. I was in touch with the mayor's office. They do tell me right now that this is a very flexible, very fluid situation, but they are trying to get in touch with as many parents as quickly as they can. We do know that the children that were evacuated from this elementary school were taken to a local civic center so their parents could pick them up. But this is just a very scary situation. As anybody knows that has covered this kind of stuff, and still a lot of details coming in as we continue to get down there.
You've been listening to Maria Villarreal, our correspondent based in Texas. She's on her way to the scene, and she's already talked with sources in that community who have now the difficult task, as they so often do when there are shootings across this country, of reaching out to inform parents in that community of just the horrific scene that's played out in Uvalde, Texas this afternoon, certainly before they can confirm to any reporter on the scene or certainly on the national level what the actual numbers are. Again, we're on the air at this hour with our breaking news coverage of yet another school shooting in this country in Uvalde, Texas, at the Robb Elementary School. It's believed the hospital there in Uvalde reporting at least 2 children dead, and sources now telling ABC's Aaron Kotursky, among others in our news division, that number could actually be far worse when authorities are finally able to confirm in front of the cameras what's played out today. Early reports, as many as 14 dead. And of course, that number would include more children than initially reported by that hospital. I want to bring in Pierre Thomas, our Chief Justice correspondent, who covers the FBI and law enforcement in this country. And Pierre, I know they're already working this case.
They are indeed, David. And to be clear, my sources are describing a gruesome scene at that school. They are aware of some of the numbers, including the number 14 that Aaron just reported. Sources saying they're being careful because the situation is so confusing and so gruesome. But make no mistake, they're describing multiple dead at that school. They are telling me that the highest levels of federal law enforcement are being briefed on it as we speak. I was just with the Attorney General at the press conference a few moments ago. He acknowledged that he was being briefed on the situation right before the press conference. He was seeking additional information. So literally the information is flowing. It's a very small community. They're trying to get details from a obviously overwhelmed small police department. But again, the details that we have multiple dead. Again, a number of numbers are being floated around in terms of the number of dead. Sources saying be careful with the numbers, in fact, because it's such a confusing situation. However, they're making clear that we should get people there as soon as possible, because this is not going to be anything but an ugly scene that has been playing out over and over again. I cannot tell you how depressed and sad some of these law enforcement officials are that are contacting us, David.
I think the country shares that sentiment with them. Pierre, just 10 days ago, you and I were in Buffalo, reporting on the awful shooting in Buffalo, New York. Just 9 days ago, our team in California reporting from Laguna Woods, the gunman who walked into a church there. Now our team on the way to Uvalde, Texas, where again this afternoon, another school shooting in this country. As Pierre just reported, law enforcement telling our team, and I'm sure many others, that this is going to be yet another horrific scene in this country. Again, the hospital in that very small community confirming to ABC News that several people were brought to that hospital for help. The hospital reporting at least 2 children dead, which is an awful number in and of itself. Then sources reporting that the number could actually be far higher when we get a clearer picture of what's playing out in this community. FBI and federal sources telling Pierre Thomas simply that this is going to be a horrific scene when it's all said and done. We do know that authorities in that community plan to brief reporters at some time in the near future. Of course, we'll bring that to you as soon as we have it. In the meantime, I want to bring in Elizabeth Newman, formerly with the Department of Homeland Security. And Elizabeth, you don't need me to tell you that this has been a problem for many years in this country, and particularly in these last couple of weeks. Authorities have been warning.
Yo, we got 4 people up in here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Leave some comments, y'all.
Verizon just gave us all a brand new iPhone 13.
We've been customers for years. We got iPhone 13.
I see some folks up in here. I know it's late. Go ahead, drop some prayer hands in the comment section. Prayers for Texas, Uvalde, Texas. Prayers for America in general. I heard about the Buffalo shooting. I kind of wanted to look into that, just being kind of busy. But I didn't know about the one in California, and I believe they said it was one more recently, which is just crazy. Like, it's like a pattern, but, man, I don't know what's going on. But we definitely need them prayers for sure. Hipsy Gipsy Heavy Metal Earthman. Ma'am. Mama. Okay. Your name is so long. What's up, fam? How you doing? Peace and blessings. It's a crazy story, man. It's unbelievable. The number of victims is crazy, which, it doesn't really matter if it's one child or it's just so lost for words, man. But, most important is prayers, that these families, they just need the strength. I mean, that's the only thing that I could really just think of to pray about, man. It's lots to pray about, but these families, like these parents that got to go through this. LOL, good friend. Hope you and your family are well. Yeah, everything is good. Everything is good. I can't complain myself. Just be tripping off of life, and all this stuff that goes on, and just how people just do these kids out here in America. Like, you don't hear about this nowhere else in the world besides America, which it gets kind of confusing at times, and you just don't really know what to think. But it's of course sad at the end of the day, because this is where we reside at. This is where we live at. And they can honestly, like, they said 212 mass shootings in the last year. That damn near could be any one of us, any city that we live in. It may sound low, but that's a high percentage to where you never know where it could happen next. It just makes you really think, like, how safe are you in America? And then it makes you think, like, why is America even like this? Like, I don't know. It's crazy, man. We already got to deal with all this other stuff that's going on. And it's just so much negativity surrounded around our children. That's the whole main thing right there is in these days in 2022 is like everybody's in danger. It's like the safest spot is your home. That's why I be trying to stay home as much as possible. Go to work, come home, and you feel me, do what's necessary for life. Because once you step out your house, once you send your kids out the house, it's it's a gamble with your life, basically, in all types of ways. It's like makes you think, like, is it even safe to send your kids to school nowadays?
December of 2012, when another elementary school was hit, and there just are no words. We have got to figure out a way to be able to identify individuals that are showing signs and indications that they want to commit acts of violence, and we have to find a way to start to prevent this. It is just an epidemic of violence that we have seen at historic levels for the last 5 years, and it looks, by all indications, to be another horrid year, possibly likely to break records with the number of active shooters and the number of incidents of violence in this country.
Our thanks to you. I want to go back to Aaron Katursky, who is just reporting in more information from his sources. Aaron, what are you learning?
David, initially reported as taking place outside the school, ABC News has now been told by multiple law enforcement sources that there was gunfire inside this school, Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas, by a gunman who is, according to these sources, dead, an 18-year-old male that came into that school with an unknown firearm or firearms, and authorities are now exploring what his connection might have been to that school. They're not exactly certain. They are working with a name, and they are now also scouring social media, looking for any background.
Hey, Charles Rose, what's going on, fam? Yeah, this whole situation is crazy.
Authorities are
and
hippie
gypsy.
Even though this was initially reported to have taken place outside the school,
I appreciate the
there was
the
gunfire
support.
inside the school.
I know it is late.
Multiple dead. And
like I said, I just barely got off of work myself. I just wanted to cover this story real quick.
Reporting that the suspect, they have a name, they're working.
But I do appreciate it, though. Make sure you get that dinner done. Once your man get home, that dinner got to be done. But that's what's up, though. Handle your business. It's all good. Once this video is over, if you guys want to chop it up about it, we can. I'm going to kind of keep it short because I'm burnt out. Been on a roof all day. And then, we're going to get back to it tomorrow. And then I also want to talk about what happened in Buffalo. And then also look into what happened in California, because I didn't even know about the California shooting. It's just ironic, like, man, it's crazy that all this stuff is going on at once. It seems like when something goes on in America, it's always like a pattern. If they shooting black people, they shooting black cops, are shooting black people. That's going on for like a couple months. It's like a trend. But yeah, good looking, sis. I appreciate it. Let's get back into this clip, though.
The case of potential contacts to the school. And for those of you who have been watching from the beginning, one of my questions early on was whether or not this played out inside the school or outside. Early reports had been that this was off campus. Aaron Katursky now reporting.
Yeah, fam, I know you just got in, so I don't know if you've seen what they said earlier about all the mass shootings, but I guess 10 days ago, it was one in Buffalo in a supermarket. It was like, I think like 7 black people or 10 black folks. It was a lot of our peoples, and it was all, African American. And then they mentioned one in California at a church, and this one today. And then you remember that one like 2 years ago in the Walmart. So yeah, it's crazy. There's a lot of stuff that's going down.
Reporting that it was inside that school, which obviously makes more sense given the scope of this tragedy unfolding before our eyes here late this afternoon. Again, Uvalde, Texas, you can see law enforcement on the scene. It's been growing since we've been on the air. Robb Elementary School, reports of a young gunman going into that school and opening fire. Reports, sources telling ABC News, and this number is a difficult number to report this afternoon, but that as many as 4.
Hey fam, but could you imagine that though, man? Like sending your kid to school and getting a call like this.
Very small rural community.
Unbelievable.
Has
I just feel so bad for them parents and the kids, and like, man, just the whole situation is
arriving at that hospital. So we know
ridiculous, man.
That particular number, but authorities have been
like, what's the motive? Why would somebody want to do this?
Get far worse. I want to bring in Brad Garrett, longtime ABC News contributor, formerly with the FBI. And Brad, we've been on the air far too many times with stories like these. We heard Elizabeth say earlier that authorities had been warning that the number of cases like this one could sadly rise over the course of the coming months. And we have seen just a stunning couple of weeks in this country.
So, David, you have to look at this from the side that.
Did he just say it's going to rise? Like, why would they say that? I don't understand, man. Let's take that back. Well, if they're going to be shooting up schools and it's going to rise, we don't need to send our kids to school. The hell?
Will likely get far worse. I want to bring in Brad Garrett, of a young gunman going into that school and opening fire. Reports, sources telling ABC News, and this number is a difficult number to report this afternoon, but that as many as 14 could be dead, and that would include several children. We do know that the Uvalde Memorial Hospital.
So this video is a little bit older, like 9 hours old. The update is up to 19, I believe.
Died either upon arrival or since arriving at that hospital. So we know that particular number, but authorities have been telling us this afternoon that the number will likely get far worse. I want to.
Yeah, it's definitely prayers for that whole city, man, and everybody affected by that situation. You know, you got the parents, the families, friends, the city, the law enforcement people, the coroners, like they all got to go through this and see this. And man, I can't even imagine. This is crazy. It's like, why I still could never fathom in my head why somebody would want to do something just so demonic. You know, if you got issues in your life and you're going through something, and you I mean, if that's the route you want to go, just take your own life. And I don't condone to that. You know, I'm not saying that it's always other ways, but if it comes down to that, man, it's no point of taking innocent kids. No reason at all. Nobody, you know, no other life. And then, like, these people that go through these things want to pick churches and then certain races and schools. Like, the most vulnerable, softest things in life that you can attack. Churchgoers and kids. Something ain't adding up.
I want to bring in Brad Garrett, longtime ABC News contributor, formerly with the FBI. And Brad, we've been on the air far too many times with stories like these. We heard Elizabeth say earlier that authorities had been warning that the number of cases like this one could sadly rise over the course of the coming months. And we have seen just a stunning couple of weeks in this country.
So, David, you have to look at this from the side that.
Yeah, fam, I don't know what it is. I don't know what they're trying to start. I mean, you know, it's just hard to tell at this point. It's like, is it an agenda or is it a crazy person? Is it, you know, they be tripping off of gun control. To me, honestly, just spirit, you know, on a spiritual tip, without like, feel me, just reaching. You know, I don't be trying to reach or nothing. It's just crazy. Like, you know, it's just weird. And then, you know, how it's a repeated pattern when it does occur. And then they trying to predict and say that it's going to get worse. Like, you would think that mass shootings and things of this nature is like unpredictable. You know what I mean? Like, it's somebody that woke up this morning and want to kill people, apparently, right? And then it happens. So how can you say, and that's only like one person, right? So how can you say it's gonna get worse? Like, how? What would make them say that? That's where I'm lost at. And people got to really, you know, think deeper than you know what you think life is. But it's just common sense things like that. Why would the news? And I don't even know why. I'm questioning myself. Is why would they predict more of this is gonna happen? That would kind of tell you, like, it's you will only say that if you know it's like a group of people, right? Or like a terrorist group. Like, oh, this one person from this terrorist group did this, so he's dead, but it's still multiple others that's gonna do, you know, might do the same thing. But supposedly that's not the case. It's this one person that did this and he's deceased. So why would you think it's going to continue? It's already been happening. All right, we know that, but why? This is supposed to be a random act. How can you, like, you know, me just I wouldn't think that, oh, it's going to happen again. Oh, this person is dead. He did what he did. And oh, man, like, I don't know, man. The only reason I would think that is because of how things go out here. But y'all feel what I'm saying? Or I'm tripping? Scare tactics, but why? That's the thing. But you know why? I could say a lot of reasons why, but we're not gonna go there. But you know, things that I didn't read in books and all that. But we're gonna keep it lightweight.
These are almost impossible to stop unless you have, as Elizabeth said, some advanced information. The number of firearms, the number of the millions of AR-type weapons, we don't know if that was used, but something like that perhaps today. Elementary schools typically do not have security because they typically don't need it. And so
See, that's another thing right there. He said the only way to stop it would have intel. What intel would there be if it's just one person that just randomly wants to go, like, you know, unless he got it? Like, I still don't understand what these folks are saying. They got me lost. It's like a hidden message or something. But I don't know. But I'm just saying it's not making sense. That's really what I'm saying at the end of the day. How are you going to get some intel from anybody that wants to go do something like this? Unless they didn't told somebody. But if somebody really wants to do something like this, who are they going to go tell? If it's just a young kid, a teenager, or just this, how they make it seem, you know what I mean? Like, come on now. Like, let's finish this video. This is getting interesting. I haven't seen this yet. I haven't seen nothing. Like, I've been at work all day. I just seen, you know, this, you know, this horrific situation on social media and all that. But this is tripping me out. This is crazy.
a combination of maybe no officer there, a person with overwhelming firepower, probably had to go through very little security. And think about Buffalo, as you mentioned. Shooter
All right, good night, fam.
shot people outside.
Tap in tomorrow.
Then shot his way in.
We're gonna get back into it tomorrow. We got 6 people.
But
you know, hit that. Make sure y'all hit that thumbs up, like, share, subscribe.
Of what we know about people.
If you're over there on Facebook, I can't see your comments, so make sure you come over here to YouTube.
Way to stop these.
Brad,
got 7 people. Hey, I know it's late, y'all. Appreciate the love, for real.
Back to you if needed along the way here, certainly. And again, We're expecting to hear from authorities there on the scene a short time from now. And of course, we'll be back on the air when that happens so that you can get a clearer portrait, a clearer picture of what's playing out in Uvalde, Texas. What we do know, before I send many of you to your local news, is that there has been a school shooting at Robb Elementary School there in Uvalde, Texas, about 80 miles outside of San Antonio. The hospital there in that very small rural community already confirming at least 2 children dead. Sources telling ABC News that that number will likely grow far higher once they come before the camera a short time from now. We'll continue our coverage on ABC News Live and on abcnews.com. We'll be right back on the air as soon as authorities come to the cameras. And of course, I'll be back with the entire team for World News Tonight. In the meantime, for many of you, it's your local news. I'm David Muir in New York. We'll see you shortly.
People with plaque psoriasis are rethinking the choices they make.
All right, y'all. I got one more video I want to go over real quick. It's real brief. It was titled "What They Know About the Suspect," the one that did this. So I'm kind of curious myself, and I just want to see real quick. But yeah, that clip right there was crazy. I got to go back and watch that again. Let's see if it hold on real quick. Let me pull it up. Here we go, right here. So this is titled "What We Know About the Uvalde, Texas School Shooter So Far." I'm literally in tears. Yeah, I feel you, fam. It's a sad situation. Just the thought about it, man. It's crazy. But once again, y'all, prayers for that whole town and, everybody affected by that situation. Prayers for America for sure. Prayers that these families, these parents get the strength to make it through the rest of their life, man, and somehow move on through the grace of God, because this is deep, and it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. Their whole life got flipped upside down by this man that wanted to do this demonic, like I said earlier, demonic. There's nothing else to put behind it. Just straight devil shit.
Fighting for their lives here in San Antonio at University Hospital, a 10-year-old little girl and a 66-year-old woman. This is the region's primary trauma care center, but it is a good 80 miles from Uvalde. So think about this. Families had
Good
to
night,
make this
Stephanie. Much
heartbreaking
love, fam.
trek all the way here, all the while praying that their loved ones would survive. Other families did descend on the hospital there in Uvalde because some children were taken there. Tonight, police are standing guard outside that hospital as families walk in and out, many of them breaking down in tears. It is a tight-knit community, and here's what a woman told one of the reporters on scene there. This woman used to work at that school.
It's just breaking my heart. It's just breaking my heart. I just didn't ever expect anything like that to happen here in Uvalde. And then the person that did this, he was from high school. I mean, he was going to high school here. He was a high school student here.
Right now?
Right now.
Is it just hard to put into words? I mean, I can
Yes.
see it in your eyes. You're like,
I couldn't believe it. When I was watching it. I finally said, no, I'm not going to watch anymore. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it anymore. It's just so hard. I said, that was where I worked for 25 years. My husband's a principal there. My son went to school there.
Now, that teacher we spoke of earlier in the newscast, Eva Morales, her aunt did release a statement earlier tonight calling what happened senseless and saying she is furious that mass shootings like this continue to happen.
I discovered the 8 immortal kings of Samaria lived a total of
All right, y'all. Man, once again, prayers, y'all, for the families and everybody affected by the situation. It is very, very sad. It's even sad, just talking about it and trying to cover this story. But I just want to, I wanted my folks on my channel. I wanted this whole channel in general, man, to send them prayers. We're going to see, what's going on tomorrow with it. Tomorrow, I want to get into, the other shootings too and just talk about that. But much love, Brit, Spicy Life. What's going on? Peace and blessings. Hey, I love y'all out there. Much love. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'm going to be up early. For those that is up early, we got the morning motivation. And then, I usually vlog throughout the day. And then once I get home, we get into another live. But y'all be safe out there. And, hug your kids and tell your family you love them, man. Life is short.